Hey guys, STFA TV. We're doing the 4x4, oh so tiny, Cutie Vampire Cat Stuffie. And you are going to, I'm going to do this one on, oh, what's the name of this stuff that Heather keeps trying to get me to use? It's not fleece. It's that soft squishy stuff. I'll think of it in here in a minute. Anyway, you need 2 pieces of it, about 5 inches by 5 inches. I like 6 by 6 to give me some extra. You need some medium weight cutaway. This is my 5 by 7 hoop because all my 4 by 4s are busy. And you're gonna need, if you're using something with a nap or a pile like this, you're gonna need some WSS. And it doesn't have to be any heavy duty WSS. You're probably gonna need a piece about 6 inches by 6 inches. And let's do it this way, ha ha ha. Just so that you can pin this down and keep all of your direction on your nap or your fleece or your whatever the heck that stuff's called, going in the same direction. This is a 1 hoop stuffie. It's gonna, oh, and you'll need polyfill, needle, and thread, blah, blah, blah. This is one of the super simplest, easiest ones, except for the fact that it's 4 by 4, which makes it way fun to turn. So hoop up your medium weight stabilizer and run color stop 1, which is the die line. We'll be back in a second. I told you we would be back in no time at all. Now you want to take your, the name of this stuff is Minky. You want to take your Minky, and you want to lay it over and make sure you're covering your entire design. And then, because it's got a pile or a plush or whatever, I highly recommend, so that you don't lose your stitches, down inside of this puffiness, putting a piece of WSS over, and you want, when you pin this down, and I rarely pin anything, but this stuff, yui. When you pin it down, you want to make sure that it's fairly tight across your fabric. But you also want to make sure that your pins are all the way out of your stitch path. And this right here causes the stitches to stay on top of that pile and gives you a poofier embroidery look, makes it, and I know you're going, but it's wash away. Yeah, but even just this micrometer of puffiness really does help, even once it's been washed away, pop up the embroidery. Now we're going to put this back in the machine, and we are going to run color stop 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't want to see or hear from you again until you're ready for number 7. Peace. Holy buckets, that was quick. So there we go. We are now ready to add the back, which will go on the front because we're going to turn this little guy. So what you want to do now is you want to pull up your WSS, and you want to make sure that you also get this little piece right here. Come here. There we go. Come here. There we go. All right, then you are going to take your other piece of Minky, and you are gonna float it. Just lay it over the top. You don't need to pin it down. Don't need to do anything. And then we're gonna put it back in. We're gonna run color stop 7. Back in a second. And there we are. Look, Kitty's all finished. You can't see anything because there's black thread on black Minky, but trust me, Kitty's done. Okay, so one of the things that I do need to tell you about is on the 4 by 4 and the 5 by 7, his tail is a little tough to turn. So you probably want to cut this stabilizer off the back here. The problem is you do not want to catch the fabric, all that hard work. So you are going to have to be very, very, can I say this again? Very careful when cutting this away. Okay, you want to make sure that you don't catch any of the fabric. So I usually try and get a little hole opened up, and then I only cut on top of, like I'll put a pair of tweezers in here, and I only cut right on top of the tweezers, so that I am making sure that I am not cutting any of this fabric that would be bad, okay? You really want to make sure that you don't cut the fabric or that you cut your stitches when you're trying to cut a little bit of this stabilizer away. I'm even using my jump scissors because the tips curve up and away from where I'm trying to cut. Because I really do not want to put a hole in this fabric after I just spent all this time sewing and stitching it together. That would be awful. So again, I try to put, and I'm using the back of my tweezers right now. Okay, so see, I did not cut my fabric. Now, we are going to unhoop this, and we are going to work from the back because black stitches on black minky, and it's just about impossible to see what you're doing. So you want to make sure, to make your life easier, let's go ahead and fussy cut this. All right, there we go. Now we're going to turn it over. We're going to make sure that we have grabbed all 3 layers. Of course, obviously, first we have to put our tab in. You need to leave yourself some turning fabric. Once you get this little guy turned and stuffed, you're going to need some fabric to fold over and tuck under. Now, we want to stay about 1/8, maybe even as much as 1/4 of an inch away from our seam line. We're going to come back and we are going to, all our innies that we need to worry about, we're going to trim cut and V-cut those as the last step. And also going down between his ear and his tail, we're going to cut last as well. Okay, so I do not cut my tab off. I'm going to fold this over and get it out of the way. And come down like so. All right, now let's do his feet first. There's a little bit of a V in. Don't cut your stitches, but you do want to make sure that you're really close to that stitch line. So that when it does turn, you've got a nice crisp angle there. Okay, he's got another little V right there. Okay, I'm going to cut right here as well at this ear. Again, don't snip the stitches, but you want to make a V so that you can ease that fabric when you turn, and you've got a nice crisp angle. Boy, this minky is awful to work with. I'm sure it's going to make a lovely, soft and squishy stuffy. But boy, okay, now we've got to go down his ear. And across his back. Arrgh. So many things working against me. One, we're working tiny. Boy, these 4x4s are tiny. Second, we're working with Minky. Ew. Arrgh. Okay, and then there's another one right here at his hiney. Okay. think I've gotten them all. Whee. All right, so how are we gonna turn that tail? Because you can't get a finger up in there to turn it. So what I do is I've got half a chopstick and I put it up there. And then I grab my tweezers and I grab the seam and I press against the chopstick to get it to turn in, get that seam to go in a little bit. Then I pull the chopstick out, haha, and I stuff it where it started to go in. And then voila, there's the tail. Now let's get the rest of this passed through the opening. Again, be firm, but don't be overly rough because you don't want to rip anything apart that you just spent all this time stitching together. There we go. There we go. Ugh. All right, there we go. There we go. All right. Oops. I'm going to try the stabilizer around the tab, which I should have done before I tried to turn, but whatever. All right, now we got to stick some fingers in there and we got to poke his ear out. We got to poke his feet out. We got to poke his other ear out. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I am going to carefully take my chopstick and I'm going to run my seams and roll them out and make sure that everything that's supposed to be all three-dimensional, outy, 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 is actually three-dimensional, outy, outy, outy. You want to be careful that you don't push or poke so hard that you poke through your stitches. All right. Wow, what a mess. Ugh. Ooh, okay. Now, his ear's not all the way pokey-outied. Pokey, 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 pokey. There we go. All right, there he is. Hello, kitty. How you doing? All right, let's grab some stuffing and stuff this guy. Now, I am going to take a tiny bit of stuffing and I'm going to put it on tweezers and I'm going to shove this up his tail. Ha ha ha. And you may find on this particular version of the Stuffie that you are going to have to, for the cat's tail, do tweezer stuffing on a 4x4. Yeesh. You asked for it. I did it. Remember, I warned you guys. I said, ooh, 4x4s. Yeesh. Stuffies. Yeesh. But I did it. So all of you who were like, you need more 4x4 Stuffies, you better go get this cat and the bat and the tombstone and the eyeball and the spider and the pumpkin when I eventually do them. Okay, now, no more tweezer stuffing because see, his tail is all poofy. Now, we are going to stuff his ears. Arrgh. This is tiny, fragile, delicate little work, and I don't do fragile, tiny, delicate. Kind of a bull in the china shop, and you want me to do all these tiny little itty-bitty details? How dare you? Also, I'm gonna have this black minky sheds all over me for like forever. It's never gonna go away. All right, there's that, there's that. Now let's stuff his body. Ugh, ooh. There's his body. Come on, get in there. Now, how full should you stuff them? That's entirely up to you. Everybody has a different fullness that they like. Some like full-bodied stuffies. Some like floppy stuffies. This is a fairly stuffed stuffie. It's like a stuffie after Thanksgiving. So now we're going to take the back flap and we're going to tuck it all the way across the front. See how I did that? And now we're going to take the top flap and we are going to carefully poke it down in there. And as we do that, we want to align and adjust what will be our eventual seam so that it's a diagonal going up from his back foot to his hiney. All right, we got that. Now, and I brought way too much stuffing on camera for this little guy, didn't I? And now we need a needle and thread. So here's my needle. And that is the wrong thread. Where's the right thread? Come here, thread. All right. Now, thread up my needle. And here we go. You want to make sure that you're not grabbing just the pile, that you're actually getting some of the base fabric that the pile's attached to when you're stitching this guy closed, because it would really, really stink. Boy, trying to see black on black on black. Wow, I don't even know what I'm doing. I might as well be sewing in the dark. This is tough. I am just going to have to feel my way through this, because black on black on black is really tough to see. I'm going to assume I'm sewing this shut. There's no guarantee. Or is it just that my vision is that bad? Well, it's also nighttime, so this was supposed to be finished long ago. But it went, because Stuffy Day is an extra long, and it makes me cranky day, because there's so many steps. Not because this pattern's long. This pattern actually sews out in less than 20 minutes. It's just I had to do 5 of these, and then 5 of the bat, and 5 of the tombstone, plus I had finger puppets and all kinds of other stuff. Okay. Yep. It looks like we're closed. We need to tie off so that later on this doesn't pop open, and I am going to do a honkin' ugly knot, but you're not going to be able to see because all of this minky is flipping up and poofing around his foot, and you can't see anything, so haha. It can be an ugly knot. And now I'm going to squish, 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 and form. And by request, single hooping, 4x4, Stuffie, Cutie, Vampire Cat.